I'm Mr. Holdren, high school principal here at Zane Trace High School.
How has Zane Trace changed since you were here in high school?
Of course, the facility has changed because of the addition in 1999 of the area that we have the science rooms, the English rooms, the library, the high school gym. All that was an addition that was put on, so physically it's changed pretty dramatically. The 1950 wing, where you might have classes on the second floor with Mr. Lee Master or classes up on third floor with Ms. Farmer, that's still the same building that I attended and used as a student. It's just been painted over and maybe changed a little bit with some of the layout in the hallways. So physically there's been that dramatic change. As far as, I guess, changes with students, I don't see a lot of change. I think there's obviously a more exposure to information, exposure to technology than probably was around when I was a student. Definitely handheld devices, whether it be cameras or phones or that type of technology, didn't exist at all. In fact, when I went to college, that was really the first time I had dealt with anything on computer, was at the college level. So those have been some dramatic changes there. I do think students are probably a little more vocal than they were probably during my time period, especially with staff members, in the sense that they're maybe friendlier or more like a friendship type basis, as opposed to when I was a student. It was definitely a separation between staff and the student. I think some of that's good, some of it maybe not so good, but I think for the most part that's been positive. I do think for foul language and the things that you talk about are a little more freer used than maybe when I was a student. Things that a teacher maybe hears today in a classroom you probably wouldn't have heard in the classroom, but you might have heard in the locker room if you were a coach or something like that. So, but as far as the differences, I think students are still at that same level that we were as far as what they can understand and what they are mature enough to handle. It's just that you're exposed to a whole lot more. I remember the first time I ever heard a curse word on television. I was a junior in high school, and it was on a late night movie, and it was a John Wayne film, ironically, that you heard foul language. And that was the very first time I ever heard foul language on television. And today, my guess is from the time that you're a kindergartner, you've heard lots of things on television that we were never exposed to. So I think the exposure level is much greater, but I still think there's that barrier of understanding that kind of keeps things similar to when I was a student.
What is your most memorable high school experience?
Probably playing football. I was not a big sports guy. Just happened to be lucky to be the right place at the right time and be able to do the right thing. As a freshman, I was involved in dealing with being a center, and at that time I was the only center for the football team, so I was moved into a position that I probably wasn't ready to be moved into, but I survived it and became a starter and started 4 years and was the team captain and most valuable player by the time I was a senior. So I don't fit that mode of being a big sports jock guy, and so I think that was probably the acceptance. I started lifting weights and people left me alone, and I always had that policy of either like me or leave me alone. I think that was important, but I also think my friendships with guys like Mr. Prickett in forming the Porky Raiders probably was something that, as I look back on, those were the fun moments and the times that I ran around with guys that I was in school with, and probably similar to today. You have a group of friends that you run with, and that's probably the thing you'll remember the most from your high school experience.
Someone who inspired you through high school and why?
Probably at the high school level, a teacher, Paul Sturgill. He's still around. Been retired many years. In fact, I took his position when he retired as a history teacher. So he probably is the person I look back on as being the person that influenced me to go into history and government as a major in college. He kind of built my interest in the subject area. So I think that would probably be the person, as far as a teacher is concerned, is what connected with me and and probably led me to do something in that teaching field. Coaching wise, it had to be Doc Moore. He was one of our assistant coaches, and he was like the good guy. You had a coach that was kind of the cop that punished you for everything, and then Doc Moore was the guy that made it better. And he was your friend on the coaching staff. And then our head coach, Jim Gill, I had a lot of respect for, and he probably taught me to maybe be a man as far as the coaching aspect and playing a sport was concerned.
If you could go back and give yourself advice from high school, what would it be?
Don't take yourself so seriously, and don't be so afraid of what others think. Enjoy yourself and date more girls.
Relating to the previous question, what advice would you give to the students today, if any is different?
I think the high school should be a really good time. People that tell you that high school is the best time in their lives, I feel sad for. I think every phase of my life has been a good phase. Now as I'm winding down my career with education, it's been good. It's been great. I've enjoyed being an adult, probably more than when I was a kid. I wish I had my body back when I was 18 years old, and the condition I was in and the shape I was in. But what I've learned in that process, it's taken a lifetime to try to figure out. And you have to give yourself that. You have to give yourself a chance to learn things as you go. You're going to make mistakes, but you'll find that most mistakes are not end your life type mistakes. And I think it's probably one of the most tragic things I've ever dealt with is students that maybe commit suicide or turn to substance abuse or whatever it takes to get through the day that ends up destroying their lives. We all have something to contribute. I think we're all on this world for a reason, and I don't know what that reason is for everybody, but I will tell you I think everybody has worth, everybody is important, and maybe it's just to raise your kids in a certain way, or you help a friend in a certain way, but don't ever sell yourself short. I think we all have our place, and give yourself time to achieve that, and I think you'll be fine. And don't hurry up to grow up so much. You're going to have your whole life to work. Enjoy yourself when you can. Be safe, but have fun with your friends, because this is the only time that you may deal with these people or be around them. You'll find new friends if you go off to college, or if you go into the military, or if you go to the workforce, and then you'll associate with those people. But keep in contact with people, because people's what help get you through this, good times and bad.
That is all. Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you.